All right, I changed my mind. Let's watch PiMiga 4 boot up and then play a game using a different method than I used before. So, standard HP device, power on, bump escape, F9. Obviously, this is going to vary depending on your hardware, but for me, this is the thumb drive. Unfortunately, the only thumb drive, I don't have any free large thumb drives. And at a minimum, you need a 64 gig thumb drive. The only one I have that ended up working happens to be slow. So this is not a realistic demo. This is going to boot slower than it probably would for most folks, but it is what it is. And I do want to mention, I'd kind of rambled on and bitched a little bit on prior videos about just some of the issues that I was having. I also didn't mention that this does not include a kickstart ROM, and those can be kind of hard to find. Just a tip, you only need one, and the one that you need is kick31.rom. So you rename kick31.rom to kick.rom and place it in the kickstart partition on the thumb drive. You do want to obviously read the README. A good place to start would be archive.org. A lot of times, any of the older PiMiga or Amiberry setups or distributions are going to have this on there. I was surprised that this didn't include it. I'm not going to put it in the description because I realize, and it shouldn't be naughty, but it is. This is archaic hardware. But there's a lot of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Can't say where it is. Now, the other place that you can look, I've noticed that the Amiga emulators for the OG Xbox, there's a couple packages of those. If you're following a trail of breadcrumbs, the emulator site that Rocky 5 downloads his cores for his front end for emulation, that web page I know has an Amiga emulator that includes the kickstarts. And I'm pretty sure if you just download any of the Amiga emulation packages for the OG Xbox, the kickstart ROMs will be on there. Worst case, the naming will be a little different, and you'll have to poke around with like checking the CRC codes or, you know, whatever, the MD5. But that's a hint. Now, last time we used iGame, so right now we're looking at, this is a virtual pimped out, like an Amiga 1200. We're going to do something a little different this time. So function F12. Let's restart. Okay, and this is kind of neat. You can look at the setup, how it's all virtualized, which would be fun, but let's just stay on track. Oh, look, a squirrel. There's so much interesting stuff, right? Let's configure the controller for the PlayStation Classic, which we're using again, my favorite retro controller, just fucking works. And we're going to turn auto fire on. Why not? This time we're going to use this game front end. This is neat. And I poked around enough that pretty much anything in here, whether it's PAL or NTSC, it just seems to automatically work. This is great. I mean, if you just want to poke around and look at old stuff, old software, this is nice and it saves a lot of time. And I would like to revisit Ruff-n-Tumble. It's a game that just very few people know about because it came out too late, 1994. Way too late. And the controller's not working, so F12. Huh. Come on. Neato. So I can't. Interesting. Not sure why it wasn't working before, but weirdness. So I forgot the PlayStation Classic. Neato. But anyway, I don't know why I F12'd it wouldn't show up and it does now. Maybe multitasking glitch. Auto fire back on. So this is similar kind of to like RetroArch when you do home and go back to the settings and then you can jump back to settings and then jump back in. Kind of the same kind of thing. And there is a way with these WHD load INI files to enable a second button. That's something that I will do eventually, but woohoo! Huh. Wow. You're supposed to be able to shoot up. I don't know if I didn't get the right power up for that. The auto fire, I think, may be interfering with my ability to shoot up. Maybe. But huh. Yeah, the auto fire is definitely interfering with this. You can normally shoot in all 8 directions, or at least 7 directions, and auto fire's interfering with that. But fuck. Huh.